It's me. Welcome to Cloudy's Roundup, and we are here to discuss this week's Cloud gaming news. What fun and games it has been. We've had the EA conference. We've got Luna doing interesting stuff, which we're just waiting to be verified, but we're going to be talking about that. Stadia being Stadia, and xCloud dropping more games today. And we also had GFN being GFN and dropping 10 plus games. So sit back and we will go through this week's news. Now, did I hit the right button here? Oh, that's the right one.
Here we are.
Hello.
Moving it around as always.
Yes, see, this is the thing. The beginning bit's okay, but then when after you do that, it just messes up everything.
It's all right. It's fine. We can handle being moved around. Yes. We're used to it.
Yes. So, how are you guys? Maker, how are you?
I'm doing all right, I guess.
That sounds really enthusiastic. It's the weekend. It's close to the weekend. Party time. Excellent. Barry, what about you?
Well, I'm going to kick off with it's the weekend. It's felt like a very... this week's flown by, but it's been a really hectic and busy week. So I'm glad the weekend is here. And I'm looking forward to getting some more gaming in.
Yep.
How about you? How are you doing? You always evade this question, you see, because you talk and ask everybody else, and then you don't. You get away with it.
Exactly. That's why I like being here, because I get to ask the questions and not actually have to deal with the questions. See, this is why it's better to be here. So you can just chill out and relax, and then we can go ooh, ads and all that. I think it's been an absolutely great week for gaming in general. I think the EA Play announcement there was, or their show yesterday was absolutely class. Expectations were set going in, and expectations were exceeded by the end of it, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
It wasn't really exceeded for me. It was met. I'm happy that the main one for me was Battlefield, was the portal bit. I do like that there's a bunch of options. My only concern is, like, I believe Jim said you can create your own Battle Royale mode. I hope that there's a way where they can take some of these modes that people create and then highlight them or make them an active mode that players can select from, because the one problem about having the option to create so many things is then you have a split player base amongst all these different modes. If you highlight them, then you can have a dedicated kind of player base for select stuff like Battle Royale modes.
Okay. Jem did drop that. No, nothing to be sorry about there. Jem did drop that thing. I think it looks absolutely mad, and I was not convinced about Battlefield at all. I like my single player games, but the way they've actually implemented this is just absolutely mad, and it's got me really, really excited. And what's going to help these modes as well is the crossplay, because crossplay is baked in from the word go. We just need to get it on some cloud services. Barry.
Yes.
Hello. What Battlefield?
Yes. I was kind of like, I think from like the original reveal and stuff, I could kind of see and feel the hype, and I've played the others. And then kind of like I seen the launch price, and I was like, holy crap, that's like $70, $80 plus for like effectively a multiplayer game. I was like, please tell me there's like a little bit of a campaign or some of the stories that we've had in some of the previous Battlefields. But I noticed, I think you mentioned that yesterday in the chat Maker, during the EA, or somebody asked Jem in the chat, and Jem said, no, there's kind of no plan for anything like that. It is just all out multiplayer experience. But certainly after watching yesterday, I was like, hell yes, October cannot come quick enough. I can't wait to jump in. And I've got Battlefield 1 and 5, and I've played the others. I seem to have Battlefield 1 and 5 literally everywhere that I game now, so I can't get away from it, which is good. But yeah, absolutely can't wait for it. And then the other one that probably popped up yesterday. Obviously, we were talking yesterday about Apex. Actually, straight after EA Play Live, even though I didn't have to because I've got it obviously on GFN, I actually downloaded it on console as well. I actually had a couple of games of Apex Legends last night, purely just to kind of rekindle that, and then Lost in Random as well. I'm kind of quite taken by that, so I'm looking forward to that.
Good. I think we should move on because we are going to be trying to keep this to an hour.
I mean, it's okay if we run over a little bit. I just, I do have something in a bit.
No, it's we generally try to keep these to an hour. What we're going to be doing is we're just going to be trying to just go for the main talking points, and then just see how things go. Yeah. So Barry, you're in charge.
Yes, I am. And now it's my turn to click all the wrong buttons. We will look at the worry on Duncan's face. We are going to kick off with Luna this week.
Luna this week. While Luna hasn't officially announced anything, there is 2 big talking points within the Luna community at this moment in time. The first one is a nice, easy sort of one. So we'll bring up our little website here. Go check out cloudy.games.
That's a very swanky new website, that is.
Edit. Oh, clicked on the wrong one there. We're not going to Stadia yet. The first one is New World has went into beta at this moment in time, and a lot of people are asking, is the New World beta on Luna? And the answer is no, it's not. Maker, what's your feelings on? Have you dipped into New World over the last week or so?
I haven't lately, but I did play a fair bit of the alpha. I put in some hours for sure. I think it has a lot of potential, but I'm a bit worried about its end game. I love the crafting system. How as you level up, you can cut down just about any tree that's in the world and stuff like that. It's really cool. It just requires a select kind of crafting level. And it makes for a very interesting experience. But that was my main takeaway is the crafting system's really cool and their PvP system's really cool, where you can be a bounty hunter and kind of hunt people who've been killing other players. It's pretty cool.
Barry? Oh, and by the way, I had access to the player beta. I don't have access to this one. You have to pre-order, and I haven't pre-ordered.
Okay, there we go. That's obviously I think it's good to see that it's the beta's here. They've hit the target for the beta, so obviously that's a positive, because I think there was a lot of people were all eyes on with this as to whether it was going to hit the launch or the reveal for obviously the opening for the beta, and they've hit that mark, so to kind of hopefully all steam ahead to final release. You guys were absolutely right. I know we were talking about this last week, I think. I kind of went in the opposite direction to everybody else and went, yeah, they're going to stick it on Luna. Why wouldn't they? Of course they are. And of course they haven't. So kudos to you guys for calling that one right. But yeah, I think when it does come, obviously to launch, at that point we'll definitely see it. And obviously people tread carefully with it, apparently breaking GPUs if you've got some specialist GPUs, because that list seems to be growing. I think I've seen yesterday there was a few more that seem to kind of be bowing under the pressure, and so just keep an eye on that. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, I did want to mention they did throw a fix where they did cap the UI frame rate, so those issues should stop. But yeah, thankfully I didn't hop in because I do have one of those higher end GPUs. I don't have the 3090, but 3080 Ti is close up there. But I feel like that was something that was easily overlooked, and I don't think that they intended for that to ever be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my take at this opening salvo with this is I'm liking what I'm hearing and I'm liking what I'm seeing. And another thing as well, I think the new word hype is there. Over the last couple of days as well, it's been the number one thing on Twitch as well. I'm just double checking Twitch here to see where it is. Number one viewed streams was New World. It's still in the top 5 there. It's number 4 at the moment with nearly 200,000 people watching the New World stream. So New World is absolutely, it has the potential here to absolutely blow up. And the question Lord Gaming Man has put in the chat here, will it come to Luna? All signs point to yes, it is just when it is coming to Luna. Last October there, Ashes to Ashes, go check him out there, discovered that there was a New World page on Luna. It was there briefly, it was there for a couple of hours, then it disappeared again. So yes, it appears that New World is coming to Luna. It's just a matter of when it is coming.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's either going to come at launch or it's going to come a little later. I'm curious to see if they want to get the initial sales before they drop it on Luna. Probably similar to something that Battlefield's probably going to do with Game Pass. So and that's just what I see. What I think is going to happen is one or the other. I don't have a definitive way to lean.
You don't have. I'm going to go with New World will come to Luna when it launches outside the US, when they're starting to try and really, really push it. I'm not expecting it at launch, but I'm expecting an announcement around then that it is coming. But I'm wondering, are they going to try and get some sort of controller support? I know it's an I can't say it, whatever, the big long
MMORPG.
Yep, that's the bad boy. Maybe they're going to try and get some sort of controller support or even basic controller support because it's going to Luna. That would be my only guess there. Hi, Unitrix, how's it going? Barry, what about you?
I think the thing that makes me think that we will hopefully see it at launch is the fact that as a cloud platform, you're probably unlikely to see it anywhere else. So, hopefully, like you were saying, that maybe is tied to a kind of wider rollout outside of kind of, to the US. Because I think it'd be a real thing for them to be in a position of turning around and saying, well, you know what, you can play Luna, you can play New World on PC and only on Amazon Luna, in the cloud. I think that'd give them a real, hopefully timing works out for them to kind of get the service rolled out on a wider scale. But I think that would be a real good place for them to be, because it's a bit of exclusivity in the cloud, isn't it? And it's a bit of something you can kind of say, well, actually, we've got something that nobody else has. Come and try our cloud gaming service.
Yep. Speaking of, Maker, go.
I was going to say I could definitely see them dropping Lost Ark as well into Luna as one of the options for people to just hop in and play.
Okay. The next piece of news for Luna, see, we've got lots of Luna news here today, is Dum Dum Dum. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I occasionally remember things, very occasionally, but I do remember things. And Amazon Luna looks like they may have some RTX enabled. This is our good friend Game Tech Planet. He will be, I think, dropping a video at some stage in the coming days highlighting ray tracing on Luna. So there we go. Look at that.
Deer in the headlights look, I see.
Yep. And there as well. So it looks like ray tracing is on Luna. He believes there's only 2 games at this moment in time that have it: Watch Dogs Legion and Control. So, Barry.
Yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, it's a little bit of a silent thing, and obviously, no official statement from Luna on it. But clearly, as Jerry does, he's turning out these things, and he's kind of picking these things out and putting them out there to kind of show these people, because he's got a great eye for detail and these comparisons and that sort of stuff. So it's great to see it, and I think certainly Watch Dogs Legion and Control are probably the obvious 2 ones for them to have it enabled on. I know from my experience with Legion with RTX on, it looks absolutely stunning. So it's kind of a no-brainer that if you've got the ability to kind of flick that switch, get it done. Because we know that their 1080p streams are at a really good bit rate, so the quality that you're getting for that 1080p is great. Add kind of RTX into it as well, and it kind of just takes it up a notch and kind of enhances that experience. And likewise with the Control. I know we kind of had numerous jokes about Remedy titles yesterday, but I think when you've got RTX turned on, it's definitely a reason to go and check it out and see what the fuss is all about.
Indeed, I think it's really good what we're seeing out from Luna as well. With Luna, they're always, I know it's in beta and they get a buy ball for beta. xCloud's still in beta. GFM was in beta for years upon years upon years. You put the beta tag on, you can roll these things out nice and slowly. This is what they're doing. They're testing before they seem to just do wee bits, then they drop something a bit bigger. That's the way beta tests sort of work, and I think you can't really complain too much about Luna at this moment in time, bar come over to more countries. I think that is the only one major gripe where people have, and maybe more channels, but it is a beta service, but it is starting to really come into its own.
Yeah, it's always good to see these stuff in beta making these improvements, because that's effectively what the beta is there for, is so that they can make these improvements so that it's more polished when they do release it at launch.
Indeed. I thought I was on mute there, and I wasn't. I was going to take a big slurpee. Okay, so we move on. So, hey, xCloud.
Okay.
There we go.
xCloud. You like putting me under pressure, don't you?
Of course I do.
Like, come on. That's like hard. That's like hard work.
If you will insist on, being the one asking the questions and not answering them, because you said you like an easy life, so you've got to give me something, haven't we?
Yeah, but when you're doing it like this, it means I have to then do things really quickly. And do you really want me doing things quickly?
I'll send you a running order next week.
No, you won't, because you like putting me in this sort of pressure. We've got a couple of bits of news for Xbox. We've got 3 pieces of news. The first one up is we have got 12 games announced coming to Game Pass. 10 of them are coming to cloud. So we have Battlefield 5, Crimson Skies, Blinks, Flight Simulator, Chris Tales. That game is going to be mentioned a fair bit tonight. Adama Crops, Raji, Last Stop, The Ascent. I forget what that other one's. Ono, or I'm waiting for Amno. There, I was waiting for Maker to correct me there again. And
it's surprising you're so close to England, and your English is worse than mine.
Yes, I know. I only speak English and bad English, and the bad English always breaks through. It could be worse when I start talking Northern Irish, and then everything just goes absolutely.
Oh yeah, just gibberish.
Yeah, gibberish. Yes, yeah, definitely. It'll be a lot of gibberish. So, basically, the 2 games which aren't coming to xCloud, we're still calling it the xCloud, or Flight Simulator, which we know is coming at some stage, and the other one is another playing game in Wingman. Maker, what's your take? And just before you jump in there, I just remembered that I can't say it. Adam Crops, Raji, Last Stop are now available or sort of available?
Yeah, sort of available. This is one complaint I have with Game Pass this week is Raji is currently not working for me at all. I wanted to try it out, and it's not launching. Hell Monkey's actually on Twitter right now asking around about who it's working for. It didn't work for me last night, and I tried it just a few minutes ago just to confirm with them. It's still not working for me. And it seems like it's off and on. Some people it's working, some people it's not. And I don't know what the issue is. But that's one of the bigger complaints I have. But thankfully, I'm in the middle of Bloodroots. So I've been playing through that on Xbox or on PC. And just enjoying that. It's a pretty decent game. But that's one of the games that I wanted to play alongside. I have Chris Tales downloaded, and Raji's the other one that I was going to try out on xCloud.
I've got a funny feeling we may have Chris Tales on our YouTube channel by someone playing it on xCloud. Would that be correct?
Yep. I played for about an hour. I was having some connection issues when I played it, but I feel like that's always whenever I try to stream xCloud.
I have to agree with xCloud. I think xCloud there seems to be something about xCloud when you're streaming it. It seems to be very hungry. Would be maybe the way of putting it.
I'm wondering if like it's the shared upload if something's causing an issue, and like the connection wise it might mess up.
Yeah, it might be. When I'm streaming xCloud, what I find is just I can't do it on my Mac. It just seems to be really, really hungry, and it just stutters and everything. But
that's just a Mac thing.
Shut up. But when I play GFN or Stadia or whatever, it absolutely runs fine. When I'm capturing, even if I'm capturing games on the Mac as well. But xCloud on the Mac, I think it must be something to do with Chrome or Edge. I've actually got Edge downloaded as well. It just seems to, I think there's maybe something there you need to work on to make it stream a wee bit better. But when you bung it onto Shadow, it runs better. But then you've got the Shadow lag, which we don't talk about.
I think they definitely need to improve on the network and infrastructure side of things a little bit. It's not as polished as some of the other platforms, and I hope they do continue to improve it, because it does seem like they've been making improvements, making it better. You know, whenever I have the off chance, lunch break at work, I'll load up xCloud instead of having to download these games. Like some of the indie games I like to try before I download them. And like with Chris Tales, I played it on cloud before I did it. Same with Bloodroots. And so that's why I wanted to test out Raji.
And it's not working yet. And I think it's absolutely right that we call them out, saying, get your finger out, get it working.
Well, that was the main one that I had the complaint with. Other than that, I think it's a great selection of games. A lot of these games I'm somewhat interested in. So, it's not perfect, but it's a good step.
Yes, indeed. Barry.
Yes. I think they've had in terms of kind of what they've announced this week, I know when we covered the roundup last week, we kind of said, they've been a bit quiet last week, or for a couple of weeks, but we know that kind of this week leading into sort of the last week of the month, we're certainly going to be kind of pretty busy for them in terms of games. And then I think what we're seeing here is kind of an indication of that. Obviously, Battlefield 5, they've snuck in as a little bit of a surprise this week. I jumped in earlier this week and played it because I was really intrigued, because I played it on obviously physical hardware. I wanted to see how it performed in the cloud. And I have to say, I was really impressed with how it held up, because you kind of, it's one of those games that if you aren't reacting quick enough, or you haven't got the responsive enough controls, you're going to die pretty quick in Battlefield, because it's not very forgiving. I think that's fair to say. And you know what? It held up. There was still that little bit of artifacting that we are kind of seeing across some of the titles. Where you're just seeing that little bit of breakup in in kind of graphics, a little bit of artifacting. But other than that, in the main, it ran really, really well. Then the other one that I've had the opportunity to jump in, which I know we were talking about last night, was Chris Tales. So I spent about 20-ish minutes with Chris Tales. Opening 20 minutes, I kind of enjoyed. It was enough to kind of make me say, well, I want to come back to it and I want to continue playing it, and then kind of see where we go from there. And then in terms of the other ones in the list, I mean, I think the one that stands out probably most obviously for a lot of people is the Ascent. That's been getting a huge amount of hype and it's been getting talked about a lot. And those that have managed to get their hands on early preview, there's been a really strong reception to how the game's actually landing, which is good, because I think when you've got a bit of hype building and then it hits, when you've got that kind of hype sort of continuing and people are saying actually it's hitting the spot, it's kind of delivering what I was expecting, that kind of gives you a degree of confidence that hopefully you can kind of go into it with the right level of expectation and enjoy it. So obviously that drops on the 27th, so it'll be that's Tuesday. Is that Tuesday? It is Tuesday.
The Ascent drops on the 29th, which is
I was thinking about Flight Sim.
Yeah, Flight Sim's on Tuesday.
That's obviously not Cloud. Yeah, so the Ascent a couple of days later. So I'm looking forward to jumping into that next week.
Yeah. I don't know if we were going to talk about this, but I wanted to mention that today Game Pass tweeted that Ultimate members are going to get some free content for Battlefield games. It looks like They Shall Not Pass, the DLC for Battlefield 1, will be given through Game Pass Ultimate, as well as an Elite Soldier in-game reward. It looks like it's through EA Play, so just some extra stuff to kind of promote Battlefield, to kind of hype it up.
Maker, just before I get to the Battlefield, how far were you getting into Raji? Was it actually?
It just wasn't even loading for me.
It's loading for me, so it may be dependent on where you are.
I'm at. Yeah.
Because I think I'm possibly in a different sort of server location, because my xCloud normally runs phenomenally well.
It might just be the data center closest to me is having issues.
Yeah. Even though Hell Monkey is over in Battered Mars Bar land, me being over here, I might be at an Irish sort of data center. So
you might be at a different data center than him, and that might be why.
Yeah, so it may be just rolling out at this moment in time. So the Battlefield news, there has to be something going. There's too much tease in here. There's too much Battlefield stuff going on the Game Pass, and the rumors as well.
Yeah, just a heads up that you can claim both of those by July 25th. So you only have 2 days to claim those.
So jump in and do it. Barry, what do you think about the Battlefield news? But the Battlefield news, you mean?
Oh, right, the Battlefield. Yeah, I mean, it's freebies, it's perks, it's part of the subscription. You got to pick them up. What is not to be happy about in that? That's what we like. It just adds that extra. You talk all the time about subscription and kind of the value that it brings, and then you get perks that go on top of the subscriptions, which add even more value. So that's it's great.
Just one more thing before we move on to the next thing. And xCloud here. Hi, Jem. Battlefield. You can never have too much Battlefield. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I'm joking.
I just really hope that they bring back Bad Company 3. That was one of my favorites, or the Bad Company series. But I am excited about 2042 and definitely going to be probably buying and playing. My only concern with it is the price point entry. It's just I worry about, because of how competitive these new shooters are at being super low bars to entry. That I feel like they might miss out on a chunk of player base unless they have a plan to drop it either on a subscription service like Game Pass or you have EA Play Pro, but I feel like that doesn't do as well as stuff like Game Pass. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
But I love Battlefield. If it's not on any subscription service, I'm still buying it.
Yeah, I was sold after yesterday. I just think it makes sense. One thing I did want to draw people's attention to is, again, most of these games are going to cloud. I think we're going to be seeing more and more of this down the line. There was actually more. We've got actually more xCloud news. Look at us. Recompile is coming to Game Pass on August 19th. This means so far in August, we know for sure Library of Ruin, this game, Recompile, Hades, 12 Minutes, and Psychonauts 2 are already confirmed as coming to Game Pass, and all of them are going to cloud as well. So you'll be able to play Hades in the cloud next month, and it's early next month. It's about the 12th of August or something. So really, really good news here. And I'm probably expecting another xCloud, or sorry, Game Pass one for next week to maybe just start to tease up these August sort of ones.
I could see kind of their Twitter teasing new titles coming in August, but I don't think we're going to get an announcement until the first week of August. I think because typically they do a 2-week cycle where every 2 weeks they'll post the upcoming games for Game Pass, and so that's what I would expect it to see.
I'm just waiting.
But August is shaping up to be a really good month for Game Pass as well. I'm super excited for Psychonauts 2, 12 Minutes. And I've already played Hades, but it is a great game. Highly recommend it. And as for Library of Ruina, I do know a friend who plays it, and they like it a lot. But I haven't played it yet.
And just remember, I think we're going to get the fishing game next month.
Oh, Moonglow Bay.
Yep, I think we're going to get... I think we're going. They said summer for that, so...
Oh, that's true.
So, and that is the perfect game for Cloud as well, to do that. Barry, any of these tickling your fancy?
I've been wanting to play Hades for a while, so I think this will definitely be my opportunity to kind of jump in and see how I get on with it. The other one is 12 Minutes. That certainly kind of, pops off there because every time I've seen that trailer, the concept and what they're trying to do with that game just looks like something you actually, or certainly to me anyway, I see the trailer and think it's something that I've got to experience. The one bit the one bit of Game Pass news that I probably am slightly disappointed with for August, of course, is we were supposed to get Lemnis Gate relatively early on in August at launch, and obviously they've now delayed that to third week in September. So it's only a few weeks delay. But certainly, it was due to be hitting Game Pass in early August as well.
And speaking of Lemnis Gate, we have a preview on our website if you want to go check it out. Ben was lucky enough to have been playing this over the last number of weeks, and he loves it basically. So if you go and check out his bit of a preview there, you can see what is going to happen. And then remember, this is going to Game Pass and Cloud Gaming on September the 12th. September's looking good as well. And I was looking at the website. I'm not sure if anybody else goes on to do Game Pass counter, and you can see the games which are coming, and there's so many games which are coming this year which we don't have a date for yet, and it's just looking great. So it is.
It looks like as Game Pass is doing well, the more they increase the content in it. They've steadily ramped it up to the point where there's some multiple day one launches per month, which I remember last year, like it was almost like one title was going to be my launch title on Game Pass. Because I remember Streets of Rage 4 was one for 1 month, Carry On was another, Spiritfarer was another one, and so forth. But it definitely seems like they're ramping up, especially after E3.
Yeah, look, if you go down to, there's July 26th, and we're down to 21. I forgot about Chorus, and this isn't trolling, by the way. I thought Chorus was going to Game Pass as well. So we're down all these games here are confirmed as coming this year. And there is some absolute belters there. We've talked about some of them there. You've got Art of Rally, which I know people have got their eyes on. Back for Blood. Age of Empires. It said it was coming to Clyde, then it took Clyde off. That's one to keep an eye on. Obviously, the big hitters in Forza and Halo. You've got Among Us.
Does it say the Gunk in September?
The Gunk in September. Yes.
Wow, that's sooner than I thought. I thought it was going to be later in the year.
Moonglow seems to have been pushed back. I think it used to be summer, but it's been pushed back to 2021 here. And you've got Course, and we're getting all these games added all the time. And then there's a whole load of to be arranged here as well. So really, really exciting time for Xbox and their games. It's really, really class to see. Okay.
Indeed. Where are we going next?
I'm worried. I'm always worried. Woo. Woo. Oh. Okay. I'm going to say...
There's a collective groan there, gentlemen.
I am going to say this. I'm trying to word this as nicely as possible. When we're talking about other platforms, it is 90% of the time, if not higher, we're just talking about games. There's a reason for that. Games are coming. There's no drama. There's nothing else really to talk about. We can talk about some bits and bobs for Stadia. There always seems to be a drama, and games are a bit light. So I'm just putting this out here. It isn't us just causing stuff for the sake of causing stuff. You go on to if you watch any other Stadia sort of shows and things as well, you rarely just get a whole show about talking about games. There's always something to talk about with Stadia. That's a good thing, and that's also a bad thing. So I'm just putting this out here.
Yes, indeed.
Was that pretty? That was pretty nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to put that as nicely as possible. Sometimes you may have to look at different reasons why Stadia is always getting talked about, and it's not people talking it for the sake of talking about it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep, definitely.
I talk about it because I'm constantly disappointed. I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay, we will kick this off then. I don't know. I don't know where to go.
Well, shall we go with the games? Let's go with the games. Come on, let's go with the blog post and go with the games.
Yeah.
Okay.
What games came this week?
Okay, I'm trying to Stadia.
Whilst you're bringing up the blog post, obviously.
No, we're not bringing up the blog post. We're not giving them clicks anymore. We're going for our clicks.
See, I like what you did there. It's good. You know what? I know I've said it once, but that new website's looking good. I like it.
Yes, we're going to be promoting this down the line here. So, Cris Tales is now available on Stadia. It's available on GFN and xCloud at the same time. We've talked about it briefly. People are excited about it. Is there much more to really add to it? But it is good. It is going on to Stadia.
Good title to get.
Yep. And I will not say anything more about that because there's nothing really much to add because we've talked about it.
Yeah, definitely.
You can pick it up on xCloud through the subscription. You can buy it here and you can buy it for GFN. This was a surprise.
Did not expect this one.
Stadia. One Piece World Seeker Super Duper Edition has arrived onto Stadia. It came at a pretty big discount, 75% off for us over here in the UK, and I think it's about that as well. It's around that for the States as well. So it's £15, $22.50, and this is the premium edition, and it includes 3 additional episode packs. I'm going to say this. I'm not aware of this, but I thought this game looks pretty cool. And I think it's a good game and it's a good price point. And this is what we talk about, bringing about older games in and putting them on sale because it tempts you.
Well, I used to watch a lot of One Piece. I've heard mixed stuff about this game, so I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. I do know it's on sale. I'd have to read up and see why some people are saying that it's not that great and some people are saying that it's good before I invest my money in it.
Pasadena.
I think it's another one of their infamous shadow drops. I don't think anybody caught any real wind that this was sort of coming. It just kind of literally bang, it was available. And obviously that launch price is brilliant. At £15 and $22, as you say, I think it puts it in a place where you've probably got the temptation, to jump in. With it being Stadia, I mean, I know obviously it's got the 75% off at the moment. Do kind of wonder whether it's a candidate for a pro title at some point, which would be, I guess, my only kind of bit of. I mean, obviously it depends. I should clarify that, because I've gone in and said right there and then, it could be a good candidate for pro. If you're not a subscriber to pro and you want to pick the game up, because obviously you don't have to be a pro subscriber, you can just buy games on the service, then 15 quid, you can kind of jump in. That's almost a couple of months worth of the sub. So if you're not necessarily that bothered about the sub, but you want to play this, then you can jump in and you'll certainly get hopefully a substantial amount of playtime, to get back that value for that 15 quid.
Indeed. Sorry, I was listening to you and I forgot I was on mute again. We also found out that Heist Simulator is coming. I always say that wrong. You know what it is with me and words. And this actually looks pretty cool, and I think this is probably a prime game for maybe StateShare if they could maybe get it looped in. We could share your work about your different places. I think this could be an interesting title for Stadia. Again, great that it's coming. I don't think there is a release date or a release time, but it does look pretty cool. And if you've got a PC at this moment in time, you can actually download the demo of sorts and give it a whirl. Barry, what about you?
Yeah, I actually I'd seen this and I thought, it's looked quite interesting. It certainly looks like we could have some fun with it. I think it's probably, it's great the fact that it's coming to Stadia, and I think hopefully, probably in terms of kind of the wider cloud space, I think you'll probably almost certainly find it elsewhere as well. I think judging by the developers and whatnot behind it, they're quite pro Game Pass, shall we say? They've had great benefits in the past by putting a game into Game Pass, and then talking about how actually their game has sold more by being in Game Pass. So I think Stadia won't be the only place you'll find this in the cloud.
I definitely think it'll be on Game Pass.
Yeah, but that makes it a good thing. The fact that it's going to drop elsewhere, and the fact that Stadia are getting it hopefully at the same time as everybody else, is a good position to be in, because that's what we want, and that's what they need, is to be getting the games at the same time as other platforms.
Cool. We also had more news out from Stadia. One, I haven't put anything up there on the website because I'm just waiting for the confirmation of how it is going to work, because it's Stadia, you just don't know. Avengers next weekend is having a free weekend. 90% sure that it is going to be locked behind Pro, but there has been times before where it hasn't been locked around Pro, so I don't want to put information out there which may be a bit iffy. So the chances are it will be behind Pro, but if you're a Pro subscriber anyway, you don't have to worry. You'll be able to play Avengers next weekend on Stadia for free. Again, free-to-play weekends are absolutely amazing, and on cloud gaming, because you don't. It is pretty class. Jem, what I'm talking about is, if you remember the good stuff, and there was stuff there which wasn't, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't Borderlands one time not.
I think one of the Borderlands might have been not behind Pro. It might have been a complete free weekend.
Yeah, I think that you're accurate on that one. I do remember at one point one game wasn't locked behind Pro.
Yeah.
But personally, I really wish that they just made every free weekend not locked behind Pro, because it allows players to try out these games and maybe purchase these games by just opening it to a larger audience.
Yeah. Here's where I understand why they lock it behind Pro, but I don't think they should. They want to make sure it doesn't get overloaded. It's a Stadia Pro perk, etc., etc. That is why I think they are locking it behind Pro. I wish they didn't, but I can understand the reasoning there. So I'm not one of these people, believe it or not, who are a big thing about this. I can understand it. I don't like it, but I understand it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean on that front. I mean, I think the thing that kind of it probably seems like it's a little bit short-sighted logic is the fact that, you know, we've been talking about recent weeks that they're obviously wanting to attract developers and they're wanting to attract players, you know, and then kind of, I know you've got the argument that new players can kind of sign up for a free trial to Pro, you know, and they could maybe sign up on that weekend. But I think in terms of if you want to make it easy for somebody, then why not just say, well, actually, do you know what? We've got a free weekend, just log in, just go for it.
Yeah, they need to make it so that it's just enter your like basic information and create an account for free. As soon as they start throwing down, you have to enter in your payment information. It deters a large amount of players and people because they don't want to. They already pay for umpteenth amount of subscription services. If they wanted to pay for your subscription service off the bat, they would. You know, that's my thing. Is make it easier for players to try your thing out, and you're probably going to have more likely people pick it up and use it.
I think so as well, especially with some of the games they've elected for. I mean, I know they've done, what have we had, 3 Borderlands 3 free play weekends, you know, but there's some of the weekends they've done, you know, we've got Borderlands 3, we've got PGA, you know, we know that there's Avengers coming up next week. They're kind of like relatively sizable titles, but I know Avengers had a little bit of a wobbly audience, shall we say. It got a lukewarm reception when it eventually arrived, but there are games of a certain size and a certain stature that you will be accustomed to playing on physical hardware or on your PC. You know, so, and that's what, for me, I think it's great to be able to give people the opportunity to actually play something they've probably played somewhere else, but see how it plays in the cloud, because then you have a true measurement as a, you know, as a gamer and, you know, and as a customer. You've got a real way to actually test the game out and then say, actually, do you know what? I've played Borderlands 3. I've sunk a good few hours into it. I'll play it, you know, or I've done the same with Avengers. Let me see how it runs in the cloud. And then you can actually get a real feel for how good the tech is or how well it works, and kind of what you might like or not like about the service in that sense and how it handles.
And yeah, as you said, people want to see how it runs and stuff like that because people are skeptical. They've been using these hardware devices their whole life. Unless you make it easier for them to try this service out. Like, for example, I think Xbox did the right approach where it's just like everybody who has Ultimate, you can try out the cloud for free. That to me feels a lot more like kind of welcoming than be like, you can play our free weekend, but you have to sign up for Pro and put your payment information and stuff like that. I make it easier for these players to try out the cloud service, and you're going to get people who are less skeptical about it. You know, that's my only thing is, especially if these people already have PlayStations, they have Xboxes already, they can just play these free services do that without having to pay for online.
Yeah. Again, I think it's a great discussion. We'll probably come back to that on Monday night. We're not going to go for big discussions on Stadia. We'll be leaving that for Monday. We're just giving the highlights. No. It's just letting everybody know we're just trying to cut these down a bit more because we could just talk, and we don't want to be repeating ourselves again on Monday night. But we're going to go into a bit more. Also for Stadia, crowd play, I hope I got this one right, was reopened up for creators. You can go out and do that. And also Olympic Games has now got that added in as now, so you can go to go with that as well. So pretty cool. So I'll get the elephant out from the room. It's going to be the big talking point for Monday night. It is going to be when we're going to be going into Logo Gate and Sequel Gate and absolutely everything. Unfortunately, it is going to be probably a hard topic to cover, but we will be going into it on Monday night. This is especially with the EA news of the last of yesterday, where EA's 5-game deal seems to be up, and it is well up now because none of the games seem to be coming at this moment in time. And also there is sequels now involved in Grid, because I know Grid is a firm favorite within the Stadia community. That used to be the staple. I'm going to tell something funny. We were actually talking about it today before Sonny dropped his news that he was bringing it back. We were going to be bringing it back as well. We are going to be doing a play along in the coming weeks as well. We're going to be bringing our play alongs. We're not going to be doing them all the time, but we're going to be bringing them back every so often. So we've got that to look forward to. We were going to be bringing that back. Guys, you want to give your initial thoughts before we do move on to the next topics? Just briefly, very, very briefly, because we're going to be doing it in depth on Monday.
Let Maker go first. There you go. There's Maker's brief thought.
Yes, Zero. Monday night should be a cracker, so it should. It's going.
Yeah, staying this week made me want to face palm. There's a lot to talk about. You've just reminded me, and we'll also be talking about that article from the developer as well. I hope so. I hope we talk about that because it needs to be talked about. We will be talking about. But what's your initial thoughts? Because I think people want to hear our initial thoughts before anybody else drops off. I forget everybody was here ready for us to put our fists in. And I wish I could say like I thought Stadia had a good week, but that's the exact opposite of how I feel. I was sorely disappointed this week with Stadia, to be honest. That's my opinion on everything that's happening right now with Stadia. Yeah. Barry?
I think that's probably a good way to put it. I wasn't as enamored with the news from the previous week as maybe many others were. I think you can certainly see some positives from kind of what they did in the previous week. Kind of feel like it's been undone. And I kind of feel like we've also now got to various stages where there's so many different hashtags with the Logo Gate and this, that, and the other, and all that sort of. I think we're starting to edge towards the territory of just having one hashtag for it all called Stadia Gate. I'll leave that there.
That's the name of the show. That's the name of the show on Monday, Stadia Gate.
I did want to just mention pretty briefly that last week I did say that it felt like they took a small step forward, but to me this week was a significant step back, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay, I will give you my thoughts. I think this has been another bad week for Stadia. You guys have touched on it. I'm just going to touch on briefly. Why do I mention if Stadia doesn't get a game, and I don't mention GFN, Luna, or anything else, it is very simply you buy your games on Stadia. The other services are subscription, or in GFN's case, they are a complimentary service to your PC. You're not expected to buy every single. You don't buy games on GFN, so it's very, very simple in my eyes.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, because the other services, they're not a store platform. Like once Xbox starts like releasing these games to the cloud, obviously I think they're just going to have an Xbox logo. I don't think I think for simplistic sakes, it's going to be within that ecosystem. But I think Stadia needs to have these labels on these reveal trailers, because they are the only service that has that front-facing user storefront for cloud, at least.
Yeah, Barry, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think, whilst you simplified that very nicely, in my mind, I can simplify it even more. EA had a contract for 5 games on Stadia. They don't have contracts in place and are not active on GFN or with the exception of obviously Apex, or on Luna. So we know that they have, in the last 12, 18 months, they've had regular dealings with Stadia. They've just finished, a 5-game contract. You would kind of, it's a reasonable expectation to say when we see some of these, particularly the EA ones in particular, it's not coming to Stadia, because it was never really going to come to EA unless they announced that they have readopted the platform, which probably would have come as a joint press release from GFN and EA if that was to happen. And we don't have an EA channel on Luna, and there's not really an announcement on that either. So
yeah,
that's one of the other reasons I feel that you're vindicated in saying that.
I did want to say kind of an analogy, like, for example, it's like a new Justice League movie getting announced and expecting a Netflix logo at the bottom of the trailer. Like, I can see HBO just because HBO, their parent company owns the rights to that stuff, but these are third-party titles, so you're not going to expect Game Pass to have it or Luna to have a logo, because they're not the parent company. They're not, they're not official storefronts cloud-wise. So,
yeah, exactly. I made that sort of point as well. It's like comparing if movies come out and you don't expect them to jump a brand new movie, say Space Jam. I don't know if that's on Space Jam 2.
A blockbuster movie trailer releases and you expect a Netflix logo at the end. No, you don't. You
expect it to go to Netflix down the line eventually, but you don't expect it.
You expect to see coming to theaters near you.
Yeah. Because you're going out to buy it, it's like comparing Netflix to Google Play or whatever you buy on an Apple. I just hit the Apple button and go, there you go, and bought a movie. You can't compare paid and subscription sort of service. So that is why that, again, Monday night, I think, is going to be bonkers. I'm not going to even say anything more.
Monday's a whole new week, so we don't know what we'll have seen by then.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to say. But Monday we are going to be talking about EA. We're going to be talking about this big, massive thing by that developer. How you can see it as good news, but how it is actually a load of bad news as well. So stay tuned for that. We have all different opinions on it, so we are not going to be all the same. So we shall move on before I get myself into trouble. So,
Yay.
Speaking of trouble, Netflix is coming to more stuff out from Netflix dropped. Basically, it is going to be mobile games to start with. I know there's going to be a lot of people.
I just want to say I think it's good that they're tempering expectations right now because the leak with the PlayStation rumors, the fact that they said they're primarily going to be focused on mobile games and talk about existing stuff, really smart, and kind of to temper those who are like, oh, PlayStation's going to be on Netflix, to kind of say, roll that back a little bit.
Yeah. A couple of wee things here. I agree with you there, Brilliant, that they're setting expectations. Two things I want to draw people's attention to. Facebook Cloud Gaming has 1.5 million monthly users on it, and that is just mobile games. And the other thing I want to talk about Netflix is they are investing in gaming IP for TV shows and movies. Here, we know about The Witcher, we know about Resident Evil, which has dropped. There's also Tomb Raider, Angry Birds, The Division, Cuphead. There's actually a whole big stack of them here. Cancel that. So you've got, there's ones which are already Castlevania, Dragon's Dogma, Minecraft, The Witcher, then you've got Dota.
Hey, that Dota show is actually pretty cool.
Resident Evil, there are two different, there's a live action Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk, Splinter Cell, Tomb Raider, Angry Birds. Think about that if you're doing mobile games. Beyond Good and Evil. Can anybody see something here? Sonic Prime, The Division, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, and Cuphead. And
I just wanted to mention there's one thing I can definitely see in that, and that's Ubisoft Plus.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's what I was hinting at. If there's cloud gaming, Ubisoft will be all over it. We've seen they've tied up with Facebook now as well. So I think it's really interesting. And you can see Netflix has probably been thinking about this for a while by getting them TV shows. Could you imagine? Come and watch Tomb Raider. Oh, you've just finished this season on Tomb Raider. Why don't you play the game? You've just finished The Witcher. Come and play The Witcher 3 and this DLC, which is taken from the TV show. And that we know that's coming. That is 100% confirmed. So Barry, sorry, and then go back to Maker.
No, I mean, I think it is great. Maker made a great point in the in terms of kind of managing those expectations, because obviously, hell knows they've got so many subscribers. Netflix's user base is massive, and then I think when you kind of take that sort of user base and then kind of the gaming world, you certainly have to set expectations, because they are a well-established brand, and they've grown extraordinarily quickly. And the one thing as well is, not only do they make a tremendous amount in terms of revenue, they spend a hell of a lot investing in getting either the Netflix originals or the series that they kind of want to bring to the platform. Yes, tempering the expectations is the right way to go, but it's really exciting to see what they're potentially going to actually end up doing with the service. What is the vision? How do they approach it? Do they just do they almost adopt the rinse and repeat strategy of what they've done with video content, with game content, and then kind of minus some of the niggles and mistakes that maybe other people have made, master a few bits here and there, and then kind of see where the chips fall?
Yeah, I guess you're gonna swap over to me after that, or I think the potential is there. We're gonna have to wait and see what exactly they're gonna do with this. If how long they're gonna be mobile focused, that's gonna be a big thing for me. But the potential's there. They have a lot of really cool like IP, like Stranger Things, that they can delve into new video games with, as well as a lot of these video game shows and movies that they can expand on.
Cool. I'm just worried about time, so we will move on. I'm excited. I'm excited about Netflix here. More people entering, the better. And the best thing about Netflix is they aren't going to be additional costs. So if you subscribe to Netflix, you'll be able to play these games initially anyway. So which is good, and that's a good way of getting people on board.
Yeah.
Just go on to the last one there.
Last one now. Yep, it is indeed.
And it is GFN. GFN, Mr. Consistent or Miss Consistent, depending on what way you want to go there. I think they are great. They have added 11 games, and we also got 4 games day and date. What I can tell you now is Orcs Must Die Free is now live on the service. It is a day and date that has just come out. It is live now, and there will be an Orcs Must Die Free first look on Cloudy in the coming days. I don't know who's doing it as yet, but it will be happening. So that is
well volunteered, Duncan.
What?
I said well volunteered.
You're volunteering?
No, you.
I'm volunteering. Okay. We'll just say, so we've got 11 games. We've got Chris Tales again. Chris Tales, big supporters of Clyde Gaming. Death's Door, Warhammer 40,000, Battle Sector, Orcs Must Die Free, Alan Wake's American Nightmare, Arcania Heart, Love Max, 6 stars, Extend. I'm awful at that. Disgaea 2, Edge of Eternity, Pathfinder, Kingmaker, Siege, Survival, Glorious Victus, and World of Warplanes. So, Maker, what's your feelings, and how's it going there as well?
I think it's a good week for GFN, mostly because of Chris Tales and Death's Door dropping day and date. To me, those are big titles for them. Well, decently titles. I think like similar to how it was good for Stadia to pick up Chris Tales, it's good for GFN. But the one I want to highlight is Death's Door. That one is getting really good reviews right now and is selling pretty well. And I actually picked it up as well after watching a few streams of it and checking it out. And I'm excited to play that. But overall, I think it's other than those 2 titles, it's kind of like a solid week for me. Alan Wake's American Nightmares is a good DLC for Alan Wake. And a lot of the other stuff I kind of haven't really messed around with or played.
Barry.
Yeah, of course, obviously we covered this last night on GFN Thursday. So, I mean, for me, I wanted to give, I gave this week a solid 8 in terms of performance. 4 release day games, and then obviously, a real good mix of content in terms of kind of survival simulation, kind of turn-based strategy, anime. I kind of feel like they ticked a lot of boxes yesterday for a lot of different players. And that I found that particularly impressive because obviously it was 11 titles that they dropped. And I know you can kind of say, well, with 11 titles, they've got the ability to kind of do variety. But I really think the way they actually kind of hit kind of different genres yesterday, they did extraordinarily well. Obviously, I think standout-wise, Makers called it there in the sense of Chris Tales and Death's Door being the, probably the 2 lead. And then I think obviously Orcs Must Die, again, being another one because it's, it's second coming in the cloud. So it's, it's an opportunity for people to kind of experience it outside of what was an exclusivity period on Stadia, which can only be a good thing because more people are getting to experience it and kind of jump in on, on alternative platforms. And have you bought Death's Door yet, Duncan?
I have resisted.
Well done.
I've got too many games. We were discussing that. It's just really hard to actually justify it, but I can see my resolve weakening. Definitely can. With these games on GFN yesterday, I like the look of. I forget how many. It was like 3 or 4 of them. Orcs Must Die Free. One thing to note, there's a new feature in that. There's a new game mode which isn't available on Stadia as yet. It will be available for a while on Stadia, but it is going to be on GFN and on PC. And again, I'm really tempted to actually get that and play that. I think this was another good week. It was mixed up. There are different genres of games. I think it was a solid 7 for me. I think I don't think it was better than the last couple of weeks, which I thought were just solid. And I say it all the time, GFN are making a rub from their own back by bringing so many games all the time. We just can't catch up. And if they slip down to like only bringing 5 or 6 games one week, it's going to be shock horror. It's absolutely awful. But people forget that they've been just banging like game after game after game after game. And more games, the more games you have on the platform, the more likely you are to entice people to the platform, because something will be there what people want to play.
Absolutely. I think we were saying yesterday, we really enjoy the GFN show on a Thursday because we get the ability to just sit there and talk about games. There's literally, I know you said that at the top of the show, in terms of being able to talk about games and kind of no real drama and that sort of stuff. But, that Thursday show is so much fun, and that hour goes by in a blink. And there can be some weeks we turn up to cover GFN Thursday and we kind of look at the list and, get ready to kind of go live, and we think to ourselves, okay, how are we going to kind of, how long is this one going to go for? And before we know it, an hour's come and gone. And, as Duncan said, we try and keep these to an hour. The hour comes and goes, but we always have fun.
Yeah, Eddie, we actually covered that point a couple of minutes ago. So yes, I seen your. I heard about your having the wee pop at me. I don't do pops on screen, so I don't. So I did actually cover that off there, and why I think that point is mute.
We covered that.
We covered that, Eddie. So thanks for joining anyway. So and Eddie, I don't mind that. It's a bit of banter, so don't. So I know you're only winding me up here anyway. So if you, that's what she said. There we go. So yes, thanks for joining us. So we will be doing our Stadia predictions show. Are we going to do it tonight, or are we going to leave it till Monday after what the Stadia done now? Because I think it's just me and you going to be doing that, Barry.
What, the Stadia Pro predictions?
Yeah. Yes.
We may as well do it, haven't we? Because I think it's why not? Should we give it 15 minutes and then get it done? I think I've had one set emailed to me of Stadia Pro predictions, so we can probably get a real quick one done and get it banged out.
Yep, we'll do that. So we'll be back in 15 minutes or so to do our Stadia Pro predictions. I think we're going to have a wee talk about that as well, because it could be changing this month, as we know. For our full in-depth Stadia show, join Monday. I think they're bring lots of popcorn. I think it is going to be a bit mad.
I wouldn't be surprised if it extended past an hour.
Oh, that will be over an hour. I think we can guarantee it's going to be over an hour. I think, and I will become the arch nemesis of Stadia once again, and people will hate me. So, thank you all for watching, and we hope to see some of you back here in about 15 minutes. So, did I hit the button here? What button is it again?
Hit the button.
Okay.
Hit the red button. Refund.